So off camera I've done a tiny bit. You can see I've put the background hill in. What I did to start with was I used my yellow ochre and alizarin mix to put an underwash on when these two areas were dry. And now I've used burnt umber and ultramarine to make a blue-grey, plus also some sap green. And I've just gone along, leaving some little touches of that sort of sandy colour to show through. Not too dark, just to be there, just to make the nice feel of this scene. You'll see that my watermark has developed, and I can now consider trying to water it. And what you do, get a nice wet brush, go back to your water, nice wet brush, wet the area very quickly, very wet, and then jiggle. So I'm just going to jiggle at that paint, and you'll see, particularly with blues and browns, they're very good. They don't mind drifting, and that paint's drifted, and I'm going to allow that. By choice, I would wet all of this area so that the paint can just spread wherever it chooses, but I'm going to now allow that area to dry, and then again I will reassess it. If the watermark is a severe one, you may need to do it a couple of times, but you can see that softened out. What I'm now going to do is use a small brush and again go to my grey, and there's a line of sort of grey in the sand, so I'm going to work my way along. This is a very fine brush. There's a little person walking along here who I will put in off camera. There's like a little bit of sort of some of this, it's really where the rocks are. Some of that's a little bit darker than I need it to be, so if you do put it on too dark, squeeze your brush out and just run your brush gently over it, or even use a little bit of screwed up tissue just to soften it. Doesn't want to be too dark. And then we've got rock and that sort of thing in here. So we're going to put this on dry brushy. So remember, the brush points in one direction. Easier to do dry brush with a fine brush because it struggles a little bit to hold the paint. So paint on, and then I'm going to do a little bit into the water as well. There's some little bits of rock in here. I will shape these a little later. And then I'm going to get some little bits of my sandy colour, because there are some sandy colour rocks showing here. So I can now go over my blue and begin to put on one or two rocky shapes that are showing through the water. So at this stage, there's like some stones showing here. Again, this can be partially dry brush, so you get that scratchy sound when you're doing dry brush. I obviously am not going to do as many rocks as I'm seeing in the picture, otherwise the picture will go very spotty. But I quite like this effect of the sand and water. And then I'm going to make, there's sort of some shapes at the front. This colour probably just needs to go a fraction stronger. And there's some sort of sandy shapes at the front. You're just getting a hint of that, and again you've got like a rock shape here, and again here you're looking through water, so I'm just going to make more dry brush in here. And then I'm going to let that dry.